How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. It's Friday. It's Capes and Cowls. It's the big thing. Now, we had a lot of stories to talk about before this morning. And now, Captain America, the fourth movie, has come out. Anthony Mackie starring. And it's had 87 titles, 2 different movies. And now we have a trailer. So what do we think of said trailer? Well, we'll discuss that. There are some Easter eggs and things that were in there. So we'll discuss that also. Lots of DC news today, man. Tons of it. There's stuff with Supergirl. There's stuff with Superman. There's stuff with the Commandos. There's stuff with Peacemaker. It's going to be a DC-heavy thing. For those people who are commenting, why are you always commenting on the Marvel stuff? Because today there's a lot more DC stuff. So when there's a lot of Marvel stuff, we cover that. When there's a lot of DC stuff, we cover that. That's what we do here on the show. So if you want to subscribe to the channel, you should, because it would help us out. Get close to 200,000 if you hit that button. So hit that button. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Just found out that Spotify is now doing comments. So that's something fun. We started a YouTube Clips channel. It's the Kristian Harloff Clips channel where celebrity interviews, news stories. You'll have clip outs from this show. If you go on over there, it's the first link that you can find. So that being said, let's talk about all of this and more with myself, Winston and Coy. It's Capes and Cowls. Here we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Capes and Cowls. Myself, Winston Marshall, Coy, myself, Winston A. Marshall, Coy, myself, Winston A. Marshall, and Coy. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Tired.
Perfect. Are you tired? Why are you tired? Is it
it's
the
almost like I
two
woke
kids?
up yesterday for a trailer that didn't drop to have it drop today after I got home from a premiere at 3 a.m. So
you thought it was going to drop yesterday?
Everyone on the internet was like, and I was like, no, it's Alien Romulus.
You
Everybody's
listen
like, no,
to people on the internet?
I listened to Greg, who listens to people on the internet.
Okay, well.
Oh yeah, I feel so bad for you.
You know,
I feel so. Oh my god,
it's so hard going to premieres in the
Oh yeah, what premiere were you at?
Twisters.
Oh, how was the movie?
Dude, I adored Twisters.
Good,
I knew I'd like it. I didn't think it would make. It's my number 5 of the year right now.
Oh, so you were there when the PETA person came running out?
Sure was.
That's
I was
awesome.
2 rows away.
Did you see it that close?
I was.
Wait, let him. I want to hear the story, Winston. Hold on.
Had the person been more energetic and flaily, I would have gotten clocked. Like, it was a very tense. And then Anthony Ramos, I love, like, Glenn Powell's a movie star. Daisy Edgar-Jones is absolutely a movie star. Like, these two are, like, just pure presence. And Anthony Ramos is, like, one of those character actors you love to see and stuff. And the dichotomy between the two of them being like, we will be poised. We will handle this. We will move. And then everyone was like, that was crazy. It was just so funny to see the difference in these two that are like, we tore for cinema. And I love both energies. But it was amazing that it happened between the introduction of the 2 movie stars and then Anthony Ramos being like, you guys, are we going to talk about this? It was the perfect difference between those two. The movie's a delight.
Okay, good. I go and see it. I see it on Monday, so I'm excited to find out. And then the 3 of us will be seeing Deadpool on the 22nd. So the way it's going to work for the 3 of us, we will do a preview special for it where there will be no spoilers on that Friday that the movie comes out. Then I'll have, and all 3 of us will have out of the theater reactions for it. All 3 of us will have spoiler reviews separately, and then all 3 of us will be doing a spoiler-heavy Capes and Cowls like we always do. That will actually drop a special one on Monday, so you'll get 2 Capes and Cowls the following week of the week after Deadpool, like we usually do. We haven't done it so long. That's the way it was happening 2 or 3 times a year. Now it's like a special event that we're able to do this, guys.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. I mean, it's what I guess this is the only one, huh?
This is the
we have Joker.
We have Joker also.
We do have Joker.
Yeah,
we have, if we so choose, Craven in December.
That's right. We should do. I mean, well, maybe, but maybe.
We got things.
Maybe.
Just like the MCU has been missing this year, because we're not going to really count X-Men 97. Like it,
right.
You know, they exist, but this is the old school. Was brought in the way y'all started doing the rewatches with us and stuff, and then we started doing Capes and Cowls in the first place. This is what the bread and butter is.
Did we do Madame Web spoiler? I don't think we did.
No, because
No.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh, right. Yeah. So we
I
didn't.
refuse.
Confirmed we did it because
No.
Winston has not seen the damn whip.
I refuse.
Yeah, no, I think I did my own spoiler review on it. But anyway, okay. So Coy waited for a while for this trailer to drop. It did drop, and here it is. All right, the trailer dropped for Captain America: New World Order this morning. Now, there's a few things that happened. The Eternals were spotted in the trailer. There's a link to them anyway. Marvel Studios was supposedly meant to release the first trailer for Captain America: Brave New World yesterday during the ESPYs. Coy was right. Now, it's being widely reported that President Joe Biden's press conference led to a change of plans. A few hours is ultimately neither here nor there, and the important thing is that we do have our first proper look at the Falcon and Winter Soldier follow-up. Now, to join that exciting teaser and poster, the latter may be one of the best ever produced by Marvel Studios. A handful of official stills have been released. You can find those on Comic Book Movie. Much has been said about the movie's budget and production issues, but if this sneak peek is anything to go by, we're in for a treat next February, providing any potential problems have indeed been fixed. Now, there's a ton of stills from the actual trailer itself, and we also have a couple of high-res screenshots from the trailer courtesy of Cryptic 4K Qual, and while Ant-Man's helmet is bound to be a major talking point, that rock formation in the background is generating a lot of discussion. While it's based on a location and design and appears to be the remains of the Celestial from 2021's Eternals. You'll recall that various social media scoopers have claimed the presence of the godlike beings will be addressed in Captain America: Brave New World, with it supposedly set to be the source of adamantium in the MCU. How pivotal it's going to be to the plot remains to be seen, though it's clearly the location of a major action sequence. Also is a great screenshot of Harrison Ford's Red Hulk. However, we'd advise watching the trailer to see him in motion. All right, so let's start with this. Winston, we'll start with you. Trailer thoughts first. What did you saw this thing? What'd you think?
I think for me, the biggest thing that stands out above everything else, and that's just because I'm biased, is seeing essentially, my uncle jacked and throwing things through windows. I had been told multiple times. My best friend from college is the son of Carl Lumley, and so I've been told multiple
plays Isaiah
times. Yeah, he plays Isaiah Bradley. Yeah. So Carl, cause Carl, I want to say late 60s, early 70s. So he's been hitting the gym, but they were like, oh, he has action sequences. So to see that, my brain, that's all I focused on. But some of the immediate highlights, I love the nod to the fact that Ford took over for William Hurt, rest in peace, and being like, oh, I got to get used to, you look different, I got to get used to it. And then being like, I told me to shave the mustache if, I wanted to win. I thought that was a nice little cheeky way to acknowledge that Thaddeus Ross looks a little bit different. Saw all sorts of stuff. We saw what's his name taking up the mantle for Falcon. Help me out here, Coy.
Danny Ramirez.
Thank you. So we played by Danny Ramirez, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we saw that. Seeing the flash of Red Hulk at the end there was great. I completely missed the Celestial, so I'm glad this article kind of pulled that up. I just saw Rock. I didn't really pay enough attention to that. But overall, for all of the things that we heard, that we were concerned about, what is this movie going to look like? And it is a trailer. Trailers a lot of times can be a lot better than what movies ultimately become. It looks like they figured it out, and it looks like it's giving me Winter Soldier vibes. I'm not going to put it in that category until we actually see it, but as far as the political espionage and all that, that is the vibe I'm already getting, and it just looks very, very well done. So now we just got to wait till February and see if it's going to be able to hit the mark.
Coy?
I was really impressed with the tone. I think it's really smart to lean into the Harrison Ford of it all. It definitely does feel like a Harrison Ford movie in much the same way Winter Soldier definitely felt like that era of 70s, 80s espionage. Now they actually have Harrison Ford. So leaning into Get Off My Plane is a very smart tactic. I also think it's a very early trailer. So I'm actually glad they didn't show too much. I mean, normally trailers come out. You get a teaser 6 months out. You get a trailer 3 months out. You get a second trailer a month and a half, 2 months out. This is 7 months away. This is February next year. But I understand they want to get word of mouth out attached to Deadpool. So I honestly thought this trailer, if it didn't come out yesterday, would be out next week just to squeeze it in time for Deadpool. And either way, we're still talking about a movie in February. So I was impressed at how far it's come, considering, it's been 2 movies. I know they've wrapped both the movies they shot of it, but I didn't think they'd be this far along. So I'm wondering, in that blend of these two $200 million films, the CGI is not going to be nearly done because this is 7 months away. So some of the visuals were more finished than I expected, and I'm excited to see it look even better. And I think that they chose the right elements to really establish a tone without giving too much story, but also have people like us be like, Celestials, the leader, Red Hulk, like the things that are going to have the conversation start is why you put it in front of Deadpool, especially if Deadpool's as X-Men heavy as we're starting to hear it is. That adamantium conversation, lots of that. I think it's really good timing.
There's a lot there. And one of the things that I've heard recently is that Marvel, and not even necessarily that I've heard it, which I have, but it's already pretty clear whether you look at this, whether you look at Daredevil, Marvel has realized that what they were doing wasn't working. And they have said, okay, there are certain things that we try. There are certain things we're still going to do, but we're going to mix it up with certain things that we used to do because we don't want to lose the audience. And there's other brands that haven't done that. There's other brands that just have doubled and tripled down on doing that. Well, it looks like Marvel has said, nope, we're going to do something. We're going to go back to that tone that got us successful in the first place. And if we have to spend money to make money, which is what good businesses do, then that's what we're going to do. And they did that by saying we're not going to take a shot with spending the 200 plus million that we did on a movie that we don't like. We don't like this movie. It's not good. We know it's not good. We got to shoot another movie. So they'll probably wind up breaking even if they have a really good movie that does very well. And that's smart business. Now, the flip side of that is they could have taken a shot and it's a gamble and the movie doesn't do well and then they lose a lot more and it's an ultimate bomb. But I don't think it will be because, as Coy said, I think that he is 100% right. And Winston said the same thing. It looks like they got it together and they figured out what they want it to be. And it did have that Winter Soldier vibe. But as you mentioned, Air Force One, I got Patriot games out of this thing, right? I got a lot of the Jack Ryan stuff, and I think that was obviously intentional. And I agree with what Winston also said, where in the beginning that they have to address it right away with William Hurt, and they do. They address it with the audience, who's maybe my question that I had when I was doing the review, Kevin Feige famously said when they asked Kevin Feige about WandaVision during the Doctor Strange sequel premiere. They said, do you need to watch that show in order to know what's going on? He said, no. And it's like, of course you do. Of course you need to know. So if you want to know what's going on with her kids. I wonder if this story is going to require you to have watched Falcon and Winter Soldier. What do you think?
Carl wouldn't be alone. I mean, you've got so many factors. I think this is going to be as important. I didn't mean to cut you off, Winston. I know you got a thought, but I think this is going to be as important going forward as it is going back. I think Falcon Winter Soldier is going to be this is like the sequel to it. I think it's going to be immediately after it. I mean, if you don't know how he got the shield, except for the handoff in Endgame, if you don't know how he got the shield, not handed the shield, then it's not going to have the emotional weight or any of the narrative. And then I think, honestly, my hot take is I think the Celestial base is going to be Avengers Mansion, and I think that this is going to lead to the Avengers. I think Cap 4 is a very key step forward into the next Avengers film. So I think this is going to be a look back and a look forward. So I think it's a silly thing to assume you wouldn't need to.
Go ahead, Winston.
Yeah. I think that there's too much there that you need to be present with that previous show. I think that any good movie, any good sequel, in theory, you could watch it if it's done properly. You could watch it without having seen what came before it, because that certainly happens, and you don't want to lose box office off of the idea of, I didn't get a chance to see the other thing. But that doesn't mean that you completely shut that out. So I think there'll be enough there in Act 1 to be like, if you're really just new to what's happening here, you've heard of Sam Wilson and the fact that the shield was handed off in Endgame, I think you'll be fine. But I think it behooves you to legitimately go watch this show if you really want. Oh, where did Isaiah come from? Oh, okay. Because I don't think that wasn't Bucky at one point. That the whole time that was Danny Ramirez following him, right?
Yeah, I didn't see Bucky.
Okay. So just in general, how we ended up getting to this spot, I think you're gonna need to. But in that regard, I understand it's a TV show, but it was what, 6 episodes and they were out. So you essentially had were they 30 or an hour? It's been a long time.
30, I think.
I think they were a mixture,
30, right?
No,
So
I think it was a little longer than that. But I'm just real quick want to address the audience. I know that there was a bad echo from the wide shot for the majority of the first 15 minutes there. It's gone now, so my apologies. Anyway, so there was but to continue on that point though, guys, I think that Winston, you're right, where it'll behoove you in the same way that it should, if there's something that's canon in books or comics and everything, and it's going to actually play into it, and you can read it, and you're like, oh, I actually know that because this happened. Like, for an example, there's something that happens in the High Republic with Venestra that if you were reading the books, that it's mentioned in the show itself, and you're like, oh, I understand why that's happening. It's a little bonus thing, right? But it shouldn't be required. It shouldn't, and where Coy is saying, yeah, they're going to require you to because you're going to ask like Isaiah. I think that's a mistake. And I'm not disagreeing with Coy. I just think that if they do it that way, because that's what they did, because I guarantee you there were so many casual fans watching Doctor Strange 2 going, wait, Wanda has kids? What's that? I don't understand. Where they should, and because they didn't rehash a lot of stuff, they should, because it's a movie, you shouldn't think that everybody has seen this show. You need to re-explain it. And even if the audience who's seen it has said, well, we know that already. Yeah, but this guy and his family didn't. You know what I mean?
And if they reshot this movie, again, twice over, I do think that that's something they probably calculated for. I guess I'm more agreeing with Winston, the behoovement of like the importance, but I imagine Carl Lumbly will be reintroduced. I imagine there will be a conversation, maybe between him and Harrison Ford. It looks like, that's the setup, because I saw footage at CinemaCon. I've seen about 7 minutes of this that takes place around these scenes, so there wasn't a lot of new footage for me, because the scene that the fight with Carl Lumbly takes place in is a whole sequence at the White House. I imagine there's a conversation about who Isaiah is to that setting, so it wouldn't be like you need to get who that character is, but you wouldn't care about the character as much if you hadn't seen it.
Sorry to cut you off. I agree with you, and I can already tell. Just like I really quickly just pulled up some of the stills of the trailer, and like you said, it's in the White House. They seem to be at some sort of press conference or some sort of presentation. And Sam and Isaiah are sitting in the crowd in like suits, and Isaiah stands up and he's like, wait, stop. And so literally just from that moment, it's probably clear, since at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Sam knows who he is, and he talks about how you need to be treated better throughout history. It shouldn't just be Steve in the Captain America museum. Like, you were doing the job too. I could very easily see that scene opens up with, Mr. President, I want to introduce Isaiah Bradley. I know who you are, but it's a shame that we haven't, put more emphasis on you before. Like, see, there was a Black Captain America previously. Like, whatever. I guarantee you that conversation happens, which is just enough for those that don't know what's going on to understand what's going on.
Yeah, and as far as the rest of the tone goes, I think that they definitely hit it. You got it right away. I'm sure there'll be some comedy in it, but they didn't need to showcase it like, oh, look at all the jokes you're going to get too. They're like, no, this is a serious movie. It's a serious action movie. We're going political thriller with it. We're going back to that. I think that the intention was to say, remember what we did with Winter Soldier? Well, we're going to do that again. And I
think they just hired the stunt team I think they announced, that they officially hired the stunt team from Winter Soldier for the reshoots. So I think they literally went like, well, it's working.
100%. And I also think that what you said earlier, Coy, but one of the reasons that they wanted to get it out there was, closer to Comic-Con too, because a lot of times these things leak.
Yeah, I also am really curious if they would have shown the Red Hulk 7 months out, if not for McDonald's. Because the McDonald's toys have the Red Hulk is so funny, because the movie was supposed to come out this summer. So McDonald's had a contract with the movie to come out this summer. So there were Happy Meal toys of the Red Hulk out like 2 months ago. And like, you can go to McDonald's, you get a Happy Meal toys Red Hulk, and the movie's not out until next year. So I'm wondering if they just felt they had to show it because
it's cat's out of the bag. They already know it. Why not? Put it in there to say, look, this is the storyline we're going to go with. And here you go, enjoy it and understand about it. And that way, for people who are confused about Red Hulk, who don't understand, oh, they're putting a Red Hulk in there. Why? If you don't know that it's part of the comics, you do your research a little bit too, and you find out about the Thunderbolt Ross side of it and how that works. And I think that's really smart. And the other thing, as they mention here, one of the things that I've felt is that the MCU is kind of the last few movies kind of ties into what the ultimate goal of what they're doing, but it seems now. Another thing that you mentioned, Coy, with the reason why they're putting this thing out is to really say, oh, don't just get excited about Deadpool and Wolverine. You should absolutely be excited about it. It's right around the corner, but get excited about everything else we got. Because we're going to get you so excited about the MCU again, like you used to be. We just showed you that Captain America trailer. We just showed that to you last week before you saw this movie. You know that's coming out now. As opposed to you get all the hype around it and then you drop the trailer after a couple months after it's been out. We all know now, and people are already talking about that movie, and they're so confident in Deadpool and Wolverine because a lot of times they won't put another Marvel thing out because they want the focus just to be on that one thing, but they're so confident in Deadpool and Wolverine, they're like, no, show them the next thing right now, too.
I think it also speaks to something we've talked about a lot on this particular channel is Deadpool has an asterisk next to it for 100 different reasons to a lot of people. A lot of people are like, oh, it's a Ryan Reynolds movie. Oh, it's a Deadpool movie. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. It's getting a lot of the same asterisks as Guardians 3, where people are like, oh, the MCU's dead, asterisk Guardian 3. I think that they're very smart to go, hey, not only are you going to be talking about the MCU again, but you'll have something to look forward to, as you're saying, Kristian, but also this is us acknowledging the rebranding and acknowledging really juicing things up so it's a conversation about the greater Marvel universe versus even just Deadpool or even just Cap 4, even just Agatha. It feels like the conversation's about the universe again. Like we're excited to talk about Adamantium, talk about X-Men. And the stuff I'm hearing out of Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't want to know anything in the 40 minutes. I'm so excited for us all to see it Monday. I'm hearing like Endgame, No Way Home. Like I'm hearing praise that is astronomical, and I didn't think I could feel more hype because this is my boy, but I love that after that hype, after like my adrenaline eventually settles, I have something else that looks great. I'm glad I don't have to wait a month for that trailer to wonder like, okay, now I'm in my fix. Like it's like a methadone. I'm excited to be like addicted to heroin again and get my little methadone trailers.
It also allows them to show a little bit more Comic-Con too. It lets them show at Comic-Con. They can now say, okay, you know what? We have Deadpool and Wolverine that comes out this weekend. We showed you that trailer for Captain America, but now we're going to show you an extended scene because now you give the Hall H crew a little bit more. You can have that exclusive stuff that they don't get because, well, the trailer we already showed everybody, or maybe it's more of a trailer, but now you can show the Thunderbolts thing for them too. They get an extended thing, and now Marvel can make it a little more exclusive, but still talk and hype up Captain America. So this was the right play to put this out. This was the right play. Okay, what did you guys think of the trailer? Did you like it? Did you not like it? It seems like people were pretty surprised by it. I didn't know what to expect from this trailer. I didn't know if I really necessarily thought they could pull it together. And if the trailer is any indication of what the movie actually will be, then I'm going to be eating crow. But Winston also said it. Sometimes you can make a really bad movie look really good with a trailer, but then again, you can make a great movie look even better with a great trailer. So we'll see what the final verdict is in February, and we'll see more of this stuff as it comes. All right, guys, I do want to move on to some DC stuff, but before I do, I want to bring up our sponsors. I've told you guys many times how important it is, how wonderful it is that they come onto the show, the fact that you get them. So let me tell you right now, I'm going to tell you about both Liquid IV and Songfinch. Here you go. So excited to talk about our next sponsor here too, because John, who's your for the Summer Olympics? What do you look forward to?
The basketball, the swimming, high diving, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
See, for me, my little one has been in. She's getting into gymnastics now.
Oh yeah, right, gymnastics for sure.
So we are pumped to watch gymnastics with her. I cannot wait because I remember Mary Lou Retton growing up as a kid and all that stuff, and just tearing up watching the medal ceremonies and all of it. And everybody has the dream. Look what I'm going to do. I'm going to be in the Olympics. I remember the boxing when boxing was part of it and doing all that. It's like the Olympics is now in full swing, and hydration, though, it's key for athletes and fans. So Liquid IV is extraordinary. It's hydration for physical endurance, mental clarity, and overall well-being. So basically, what do? You tear, you pour, you enjoy a packet of it, and you love it. So I have tried it. I feel the energy, and I'm digging it because I think that one of the great things about it is that hydration. You really want to make sure that you can recover after a long day trying to keep up with, especially for me with my kids. Good Lord. And it's easier to stay hydrated while traveling. So you skip the overpriced drinks and all that. So here's what you do. Once again, you want to head on over to liquidiv.com. Use that code, though, big thing, at checkout. You're going to get 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using that code, big thing, at liquidiv.com. Now, you know what to do. You're going to get 4 of those delicious sugar-free flavors, whether it's white peach, green grape, raspberry melon, and lemon lime. I like the raspberry melon, personally. That's what I do. But head on over there. Check it out. Hey guys, thanks for checking out the video. I wanted to let you guys know about something that I've mentioned before, but I know that a lot of times when you're looking for gifts, I'm terrible at looking for gifts. I really am. And I want to find special gifts, and I want people to know that that I was caring about it. I was thinking about it, and I put some thought into it. And I'm always like, what do I do? And then I discovered Songfinch. Well, what's Songfinch? I found Songfinch, and it is a game changer. It's thoughtful, it's unique, and they're going to feel super special. Songfinch lets you create an original radio quality song inspired by your own life and the people you love. It's completely unique, it's personal, and it lasts forever. You can use it for graduation, you could do wedding, you could do anniversary, or even just a gift to show your loved one how much you care. Start your song now to lock in one of Songfinch's top artists. So I did it. I'm going to give you a little bit. I did one for my wife, and I was excited. I gave a whole bunch of different things about things that we met, things about our kids, and all these things that I thought would be a really good basis for a song. And take a little.
A comedian from New York met an artist from LA, and it seems as though we're opposites, but we're meant to be.
You just get a little tease, but you get it. You understand exactly what we're working with here, and you can stream it. You can do all this stuff with it. It's amazing. For a limited time, Songfinch is letting our listeners upload their song to Spotify for free, so you and the lucky person you gift it to can listen to it anywhere, anytime. Go to songfinch.com/Harloff and start your song. After you purchase, you'll be prompted to add Spotify streaming for your original song for free, and it's a $50 value. Again, you got to use that URL, songfinch.com/Harloff. Don't forget to share your song with us too, though. We want to hear it. songfinch.com/Harloff. All right, thank you to our friends over at Liquid IV and Songfinch. As I mentioned every single time, so helpful that when you guys sign up to anything, you help us. But you got to be something that you want, something that you like. So that's why we sign up to companies like Liquid IV and Songfinch. Okay, let's get to the next story, which is Superman. James Gunn unveils the official logo for the movie 1 year before it swoops into theaters. With exactly 1 year to go until Superman arrives in theaters, filmmaker and DC Studios boss James Gunn has shared a first official look at the iconic logo. All right, the spotlight is on this American icon. With just 1 year to go before DC Studios releases Superman in theaters, James Gunn has shared the official logo for the Man of Steel. We've seen this on the hero's chest before in an official photo and countless set photos, of course, but the high-res shot offers our clear look at the eye-catching Kingdom Come-inspired design. It's also quite the departure from what we've seen in the past. That was perhaps inevitable, especially when Gunn and his DC Studios co-CEO Peter Safran decided to replace Henry Cavill as Superman. Talking about that decision last year, Gunn said, "We didn't fire Henry. Henry was never cast. For me, it's about who do I want to cast as Superman, and who do the filmmakers we want to cast. And for me, for this story, it's not Henry. I like Henry. I think he's a great guy. I think he's getting dicked around by a lot of people, including the former regime at this company. But this Superman is not Henry for a number of reasons. While he's moving on from the past, Gunn is also keen to start exploring the DC universe in a way that hasn't been done before on screen. He says, I have an incredibly deep connection to these characters, to the stories, and wanting to create that type of magic, not only in the kid that I was, but the connection that I had with my father, with friends later on, and wanting to create a unified world in DC where we tell stories. This is not a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's a once opportunity. It's me now. No one has ever gotten to do this before. And how could I say no to that? So you see the logo there. Looks pretty good. And so Superman tells the story of Superman's journey to reconcile his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing as Clark Kent of Smallville, Kansas. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. All right. So you seeing this logo. Winston, start with you, man. What do you think of this logo?
I think it looks great. Honestly, I think that I love that. Obviously, James is pulling from very specific lore out of it, but that this doesn't feel like any other Superman iteration we've seen in live action, at least in the movies, that it really is its own beast. And I think that that's important. I think that that's super, super important. If you are really trying to establish a universe here, you want to make sure it has its own distinct flavor. It allows you that if for some reason down the line, obviously didn't go super well with the Flash, but if some reason down the line you do want to dip your toes into previous DC, universes and worlds later, you can, because it looks so unique. That to me is what makes the various Earths even more so than when you look at like the various Earths in Marvel, various universes in Marvel, but specifically with DC, Earth 1 looks very different from Earth 2, looks very different from Earth 3, and they really focus on that. It doesn't mean that there aren't ones that look very close to it. So that's the main thing that sticks out to me is James is really putting his own flavor, his own distinct stamp on this. And you need that out of the gate so that you both let the folks know that don't care as much, but they're like, oh, a Superman movie, I'll go check that out, to understand that we really are in a different space. But it also just really sets the tone. Coy was the one that brought this up first. If this movie does not go off, like if it is not the blockbuster hit that everybody anticipates it to be, not just this DCU situation, but Warner Brothers is in major trouble. So you have to take very specific, very passionate swings, and you got to bring it. And that is the vibe I'm getting just from everything I've seen from the set photos, this logo, etc.
Coy?
I'm gonna keep bringing up Twisters because I loved it so much. David Cornsweat's in Twisters, and so it is tangentially related. And it was really cool because I haven't seen him in anything. I didn't watch the Hollywood show he was in. It's the first movie I've seen with him, and I was already enamored with the film. But every time it cuts to him, and he's playing a very not Superman role. It's not in that wheelhouse. Even though the movie's set in Oklahoma, the type of role he's playing is not a Kansas farm boy. And the whole time I kept being like, oh, I am so excited to see him in the suit. Because every time we've seen the suit, I've gotten more excited. Every time we get a new reveal, I've gotten more excited. Everything we hear about the movie gets me more excited. And I started at like an 8. Like I started at, we just came off of Guardians. I really trust James Gunn. I really think Superman is this version of the character. And then to start at an 8 and to have every single thing get me more excited, I think that was... a part of why Twisters was so much bigger to me was I was already excited for Twisters. I think Glenn Powell is the next Tom Cruise. But then to have the supporting cast be these next wave of movie stars, this next wave of talent, including him, it was just really special. So to have this drop at the same time as I was seeing the movie, I just feel like we're seeing a Superman be born through all these little pieces, and I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, I was also pretty excited by the logo itself, and the bright color of having Superman in the way that I think it's the closest to the Christopher Reeve Superman that we're gonna, the Donner side of it that we're gonna get. And I know that people who, what about the Brendan Routh one?
That was just Christopher Reeve, but this is more the energy.
That's what I mean. I mean the energy more so than a carbon copy of it or just trying to do it. I'm saying more so of that version of Superman, because the idea of what Donner took was the stuff from the comics that he remembered as a kid and did those things. And so it looks very much like that. Now, as far as the comments with Henry Cavill, honestly, it's a year ago that when that was made, those comments were made, and we've covered that many times over, and we've been very vocal that we think that Henry got screwed, and so did James Gunn in that comment. And the last regime was the one who did it. So people who were like, "Oh, James Gunn screwed Henry," he didn't. He said pretty clear, and I like his honesty when he's saying like it just wasn't the version of what I was looking for. Now, I'm also glad that we've cleared up, because there was this is for people who are wondering what happened back when James Gunn took over. This is if you can read between the lines. What happened was he comes in, they have all these movies that are happening. The Flash and Black Adam and what was the other one?
Blue Beetle's out that year.
Beetle,
Aquaman 2.
Aquaman 2.
4.
All these movies that is already in there that he's now in charge of. And they're like, well, what are you going to do with everybody? You get rid of them? He's like, oh, we're keeping the door open for some people. We're doing this. But this Super... And we're like, why'd you get rid of Superman then? And it's like, well, we're meeting with Jason Momoa. I think they had no intention at all of continuing on this thing, the Snyderverse. Now, they could have been in a tricky situation if Aquaman 2 would have made $1 billion, if The Flash would have made $1 billion, if Blue Beetle and Black Adam were all major successes, then they would have had a big problem as far as going away from all that stuff. Because then it's like, what are you doing? People clearly still want to see this.
You know, the funny thing is, though, I have a gut feeling. Obviously, they were trying to figure out what they were going to do going forward. But I have a gut feeling that they were probably looking at all of these films and they were like, oh, no, it's kind of more of the same. Like, I obviously, they were hyping it up, but you're never going to say out loud if you're trying to make sure these movies sell.
Of course.
Hey, yo, these are not it.
It's not the direction they wanted to go. They wanted to go somewhere else, and that's why they were so coy, pun intended, when it came to Wonder Woman. Remember all that? Well, they said I'm going to do another movie. No, we didn't. But we said we would. We'll keep the door open. But they said we're doing a new movie. No, we didn't. It's like she was never coming back. She was never coming back. And I think that it was pretty clear from the Henry side of it, because we were all confused. Why would you bring one person back and not the other? And clearly it looks like Jason Momoa is going to be in the DCU, and whether it's Lobo, which is what we all think, and then the report was Supergirl. So we got some more reports of Supergirl. Check this out. All right, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow's own Kingdom Come inspired logo. It's been revealed by new DC merch. DC has unveiled more merchandise for this month's San Diego Comic-Con, and it includes what could be our first look at the Maiden of Might's logo in DC Studios' Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is currently scheduled to be the second DCU title released by DC Studios, and we recently learned that Cruella director Greg Gillespie will helm the movie. Anna Nogueira penned the screenplay. She was also attached to the Supergirl movie starring The Flash's Sasha Calle, and House of the Dragon star Millie Alcock is playing the titular hero, a casting decision that has been met with widespread approval. Now, we have what may be the official logo for the upcoming movie, courtesy of DC's San Diego Comic-Con merchandise reveals. It is entirely possible it's just a generic Supergirl t-shirt, but the Woman of Tomorrow's branding and this logo, being one we've not seen before, has led to the belief that it's DCU related. However, we'd be remiss not to point out its similarities to Supergirl's New 52 logo. There's also the small fact of it being released alongside a t-shirt with the Superman movie logo and what's clearly a stylized Kingdom Come inspired design, which instantly brings the DCU's Man of Tomorrow to mind. Should Superman and Supergirl have the same logo? Not necessarily, especially as they're cousins from different branches of the House of El. This version has more of an edge to it, and it's something we find to imagine the Maiden of Might wearing on her chest. And for those of you who don't think DC would so casually unveil this logo, another t-shirt features the final Absolute Batman design, even though DC Comics' version of the Ultimate Universe hasn't been officially announced. Okay, so there is the logo itself. As you see, the potential of this new logo. So, Coy, start with you, man. Is this the logo or is this this cool shirt?
Man, it could really be either, because James Gunn literally posted what was almost the Superman seal like a year before it was actually announced. So it's very, it's a habit. I think they could just be like, there it is. I also think that she should have a bit more aggressive of the shield, because her character is a bit more aggressive. She grew up without a family. She comes from a very hard world. So I like the idea of it being a little bit more aggressive. And I think that visually you want to have that connection to a symbol. So all of that points to yes. The only things that point to no are, it is a variation of a very iconic thing. It is something that, it would make sense to be on a shirt. It is kind of far away. So it's kind of 50-50 to me. It's a very long way away to be announcing it, but we have seen stuff get announced this early in the past. So it really could. If they announce it and it's shown, I won't be surprised. But if they announce it and it's different, I won't be surprised.
Winston, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Coy kind of nailed it. It could just as easily be what it is, and it couldn't. Like let's focus on, obviously you want to get the ball rolling on Supergirl and make sure that the production is underway, but I don't necessarily need them to be promoting things from Supergirl. You can give me some more announcements, but like until this is like set and it's like we're, just a couple months from the premiere for Superman and things like that, I don't necessarily care about Easter eggs from Supergirl unless they relate to this movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems like let's focus on one thing at a time. The reason we're now getting teases for Agatha and for Captain America is because Deadpool is like 3 weeks away. So it's okay to start teeing other stuff up. So it could genuinely go either way. I'm just not going to look that hard into it yet because, again, we're still shooting Superman. We're not even at the point where we've wrapped. We're still shooting Superman currently.
Sure, and I think that I could make the argument if they were presenting, because I don't even think DC's presenting this year. So if
DC Comics is going, the DCU is not going.
So my argument would have been, well, they're going to present at this big panel that James Gunn's got, and they're going to reveal the logo at the panel, and then people are going to run to the stores and the things to go buy this shirt. So why wouldn't they do that? But that's not the case. So maybe they do it beforehand. Maybe they reveal the official logo right before San Diego Comic-Con, so people who are going, oh, that's the actual logo, and they get excited for it. It's not a big spoiler, and why? And if you can do that, then maybe you should. And especially if she's going to have a nice enough part to be introduced to in this movie, because we know she, as you said, we're going to get the reveal from her regardless in the movie because she's going to show up. At least we think she's going to be wearing the costume when she does. So I'm finding myself more and more getting excited with Supergirl. I was already intrigued, but I'm finding myself, I like the cast. I like the idea of it. I like the story of what you guys have told me in the past, what it's about. I like Millie Alcock a lot. I think she's great. And to have her in this role, very interesting to see what she can do. I want to see her play a different character other than Rhaenyra, which I'm sure she will be, obviously. But I think, and you tell me, I feel like Supergirl is has a little bit more edge to her because she was the one that was not coddled the way that Clark was, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah, it depends on the iteration, but in 90% of the time, it's exactly that. You weren't an infant that became an orphan. You were a teenager that became an orphan, and so you have memories of your planet. You have even more sense of loss. So she has a tendency to, at times, be a lot angrier than Clark because of that, depending on which story of Kara you're telling. And so, I think that it'll be very interesting to see how, when you put Millie Alcock in it, I literally think of her as Rhaenyra, and that amount of anger and rage and like demanding respect that she gets. And that may have been the linchpin that pushed her over the others for the role. I definitely am looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. So I'm very curious to hear what you guys think. Does it really matter if the merch revealed it? It's probably a good idea anyway. It does get people kind of hyped up for it, gets people talking about it because, again, I think the counter could be, they're talking about Marvel, they're talking about Agatha, they're talking about Deadpool, they're talking about Captain America now. DC, they've got the big gun, pun intended, with Superman. And why not start talking about their other stuff? And they've got other things besides stuff that are connected, because they have other stuff that is connected, but they have some other stuff in Elseworlds, and that's Penguin. So let's talk about this story. The Penguin. It now becomes the latest Max TV series to move to HBO, joining Lantern as HBO original. The Penguin was supposed to be on Max as a streaming exclusive, but both that and Dune Prophecy are going to make the move to HBO as an HBO original. Last month, we learned that the Harry Potter reboot, the It prequel, Welcome to Derry, and DC Studios' Lanterns were all making the move from Max to HBO. This apparent shift away from streaming shocked many, but two upcoming titles weren't mentioned. Those were The Penguin and Dune Prophecy, both of which are now headed to HBO. Due to contractual issues stemming from each series being sold to international outlets as Max originals, it was seemingly too late to change things. Somehow, HBO and Max CEO Casey Bloss has made it work. While The Penguin and Dune Prophecy will still stream on Max, they are also being branded as HBO originals and will premiere on the cable network in the same way as House of the Dragon and The Last of Us. As Variety explains, Blois watched early cuts of The Penguin and decided pretty quickly it would be a better fit for HBO. What we ended up with is shows of this scope and scale that look great and great narratives and talent that we've worked with. The idea of the delineation kind of started to feel unnecessary, like, why are we doing this? Let's just call them what they are. They're HBO shows. Dune Prophecy is set 10,000 years before the ascension of Paul Atreides and follows two Harkonnen sisters as they combat forces that threaten the future of humankind and establish a fabled sect that will become known as the Bene Gesserit. As for the Penguin, with Gotham City left in ruins by the Riddler's attack, Oz sees his chance to take charge of the late Carmine Falcone's criminal empire. Sal Maroni seems fine with that, though Sophia Falcone is making her own power play and unwilling to let her father's former lackey take over. So the series is also executive produced by Matt Reeves. This is an absolutely brilliant movie. It's the way to go. It's absolutely the way to go. You want to branch it out to people who already have HBO. There's still people who my best friend from growing up, his wife refuses to stream. Refuses. She's watched Dune 2 so many times, and she's just browsing around on HBO, and she stops and she watches it, old school style, right? And there are a lot of people that still do that. I don't. You don't. But there are people who do that. So, and there's also people who just know the HBO name, and because of what they tried to do and the way streaming has changed dramatically with, they went for these streaming wars things to, well, we'll kind of license it if we need to. We'll do this. It's like, why do you go away from the HBO brand when the HBO is like the quality gold standard in cable making? Whether you had Sopranos and The Wire and the Game of Thrones, the list goes on and on and on and on. So yeah, this is a smart move to do it this way. Coy, am I wrong?
Oh, I'm so excited. Like, brand recognition is so hard to fight for, so hard to earn, so hard to keep, and they got rid of one of the best brands as far as recognition of quality. Like you said, it's HBO is quality. You hear that static and everyone's got a show they think of next, whether it's Sex and the City or Entourage or what have you. Like, everyone's got their thing. And mine's Entourage, my girl's is Sex and the City. Those are the two in our house. You hear the static, you get one or the other. Both quality television. Winston, I saw you laughing.
Entourage is a good show.
Entourage holds up great. I think you laughed at me picking Sex and the City first, but I heard it this morning.
No.
Go ahead. Finish.
But I think that both of these are genre content staples, right? Like, you just described two amazing shows, but I think it's really smart to brand them HBO's The Penguin. Yep. So people aren't like, wait, there's a Batman show about the Penguin and HBO's Dune. Like, oh, I love Dune. I want to check out what HBO's do. I think it's really smart, especially with genre content, to get a bit of that prestige, because you've already got the fandom that's us, people that talk about it ad nauseum. You need to get the people that are casual watchers to go, oh, I'll check out that new Colin Farrell show. It's on HBO. Oh, it's called The Penguin. And then dive in, because it's not being treated like a Batman show. It's being treated like a crime drama that Batman might appear in. And that's HBO. I also think it's really great that Matt Reeves is producing this and directing some, but also overseeing the Batman show at Amazon, the animated one. I think it's great that he's overseeing other Batman umbrella things, so it feels like someone's watching over the Bat. So I think it feels really cool to have that as an established tone, and I'm glad they're doing stuff at Comic-Con. Our buddy Josh is hosting the Penguins panel at Hall H. Yep. I think it's really smart that if the DCU isn't going to be there, there's still a DC presence in comics and TV and keeping the brand out there.
Well, I think that, Winston, one of the things here that you should get excited for if you're a DC fan or just a Dune fan or anything too is exactly what he said, which is they're confident enough in these shows and have seen them to want to slap that brand on them, to want to say, this is an HBO show. This isn't just a Max streaming show. Nothing against Max streaming shows. There's some really good ones. There's some great ones out there, and they've done some great stuff. But the fact that you're saying, no, these are HBO shows, man. It's like that because of what Coy said. That's got to give you some confidence as a fan, right?
I mean, especially when you consider, it's like you said, there's not to say that there haven't been very good streaming shows. as far as the branch off from major networks. So like you wouldn't necessarily put Netflix in that category because that's been their whole shtick.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like there is definitely something that hits different with, being like, oh yeah, check out 30 Rock on NBC versus, check out The Good Place on Peacock. Something hits very different about that. And it's exactly what Coy said. There was a lot of judgment about HBO, Warner Brothers making the decision to get rid of the HBO part of Max. So again, when you think of HBO originals, as Coy said, the reason why I laughed, Coy, is I immediately heard, "Oh yeah,"
like, 100% right.
As soon as you said it, I was like, "Oh Jesus, what's wrong with me?" But like when you think about it, HBO specifically, that name, I believe, like if you look at some of the lists, holds like 7 to 8 of the best rated shows of all time. Like talking about The Sopranos and The Wire. Sex and the City may not be in that category, but as far as name recognition, same with Entourage on that category, but name recognition. So what that also says to me is that the Penguin, as the Maxio said, the Penguin is that good. It feels like a tip of the hat to let us know you're in for it.
You're right.
This is going to slap. And so
also now writers get paid and actors get paid. Now it's syndicated. Now it's on it because streaming doesn't care about anybody except the top 2 suits.
That's and like point.
Now actually people are getting paid. So I'm excited for everyday player that got their start is now not only getting an HBO credit, but getting HBO residuals. Now when you watch it on TV, the writers are getting paid. Now people that actually made this art for you are getting their due, both in respect of HBO, but also pay, which I love.
Yeah, it's a good goodwill thing from them also to people go, oh, okay, they're really making an effort here. So, and they have confidence in what we're doing. So it's going to make you feel good. All right. Before we move on to our final story, I do want to tell you guys real quick, because I've told you many times over about Rocket Money and Magic Spoon, 2 of my absolute go-tos. Here you go. Before we do it, as I've told you so many different times, please, at this point, if you're not signed up to Rocket Money, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I've been giving you guys this opportunity, and I'm going to give it to you again, because and John, we've talked about it. I had subscriptions that I sign up for. This happened to me the other day, where it was like I signed up for this subscription, and I was like, Rocket Money's like, hey, remember this? You signed up for this, dumb. You don't want to pay monthly, do you? And I canceled it. They cancel it for you, and Rocket Money cancels it. And otherwise I would have had to gone through all these different things. It's just linked to my account. It's a personal finance app. It cancels the unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending, and it helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It's been super helpful for me. It lets me know. I had something the other day. It's like, you got a big bill coming up. Remember that? And I was like, remembered it. Managing my finances, it's been a lifesaver. They have over 5 million users, saved over a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions alone, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features. So stop wasting money on things you don't need. Cancel your unwanted subscription. Go to rocketmoney.com/thing. That is rocketmoney.com/thing. Now, the other thing that I got to tell you about that I've also been giving you tips about is Magic Spoon. I have been getting really nice comments from people lately and noticing that I've been losing weight and that I've been in shape and doing all these things. And one of the reasons why is because I've been eating better, been paying attention. And one of those things I've been doing is Magic Spoon. And every time I talk about Magic Spoon, I get people right afterwards saying, I just tried it. And then that same person will follow up and go, and I love it. People love Magic Spoon because I loved eating cereal as a kid. But as an adult, you can't do it because of all the sugar, and most of the cereals don't give me the protein that I need. And I found Magic Spoon, which is really great. And it tastes very similar to my childhood favorites, but it doesn't have all the sugar, and it's got a ton of protein. And that's my snack at night. Every serving of Magic Spoon cereal, it's got 13 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, and 4 grams of net carbs, so you can feel good about what you're eating. So the most popular flavors are fruity and cocoa. And there's so many more. I mix the cocoa and the peanut butter personally, but they also have treats. Magic Spoon has brand new treats. They're crispy, they're crunchy, And they're an easy way to get 11 grams of protein on the go. For the first time ever, Magic Spoon treats are available in grocery stores with delicious flavors like marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter. It's delicious. My friend Dan says, it's really delicious, Kristian. I got to try this Magic Spoon. Get $5 off your next order at magicspoon.com/bigthing. Or look for Magic Spoon in your nearest grocery store. That's magicspoon.com/bigthing for $5 off. That's Magic Spoon. Hold on to the dream. All right, thank you to both Rocket Money and Magic Spoon. Yes, people have been telling me about how I've lost weight. Well, Magic Spoon has been helping me tremendously. It's protein, baby, and it tastes good. And Rocket Money, I couldn't live without. I'm telling you, I do so much with them. So if you want, you can help out the show. Do it, and let the English see you do it. Okay, let's get to the next topic here. All right, so this is about D23. Disney has revealed a full list of panels set to take place at D23 from August 9th to the 11th. And while there's currently no mention of Marvel Studios, Marvel's animation slate will be showcased at the event. So there's less than a month to go until D23, and that takes place at Anaheim Convention Center. What appears to be the full schedule, it has now been revealed. While attendees can look forward to over 230 panels and presentations, it doesn't appear that we're getting much in the way of movie announcements. Short of some surprise news in the coming week, there's no mention of plans for the Walt Disney Studios, Disney Animation, Pixar, Marvel Studios, or Lucasfilm to be highlighted by the House of Mouse in California. Marvel Animation will, however, be on hand. This is how it is described. Seeing what's coming next to Disney Plus for Marvel Animation with special guests and first looks at hotly anticipated series, including your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Eyes of Wakanda, future seasons of What If, X-Men 97, and more. On the plus side, Marvel Studios is going to have a presence on the show floor, even if there are no plans to wow fans with trailers and announcements. According to a press release, Marvel Studios' TVA walkthrough experience will allow fans to enter the Time Variance Authority through an immersive walkthrough experience and see pivotal moments recreated from the MCU as well as what lies ahead. Just don't step out of line or timelines. The MCU is expected to be highlighted at this month's San Diego Comic-Con, with Marvel Studios President Kevin Feige likely on hand to share the updated multiverse saga slate. As for Lucasfilm, they'll be heading to the convention to present the magic of ILM Stagecraft, the technology used to bring to life the worlds of The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and more. Hear from luminaries such as Doug Chiang, the Creature team from Legacy Effects, and more for a look behind the scenes. Michael Vargo, head of D23, the official fan club, says we are thrilled for fans of all ages to join us in Anaheim next month for what will truly be the ultimate Disney fan experience. This year, D23 has been reimagined to showcase even more of what they love from across the worlds of Disney. Okay, so what I would have said when first reading this is this ultimately what they say in this thing. I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. I understand why Marvel Studios isn't presenting. It's like a week and a half, 2 weeks after Comic-Con. So they're going to show everything. What are they going to do? Show it again? Because they've done that stuff before. They've done presentations at Comic-Con and then presentations at D23. Like, oh, then what are you going to get? And they essentially just do the same thing again. And it's like, why did you even do that? It doesn't make any sense. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Lucasfilm not being there, not doing something, that's surprising. That's real surprising. Some of the other movies, the animation and those things not being there, surprising. I don't know why they're not doing that. I don't know, Winston, you hear this overall. I guess you can start with Marvel if you want, but in general, what do you think about this when you hear that there's really not going to be much as far as film and TV, minus the animation?
I think I fall back into the mentality of it sounds like Disney, not just Marvel, it sounds like Disney has a set of game plans that they're implementing. I think that they are very aware of the fact that things have not been going exactly the way that they wanted. They're obviously in ways they have, like Inside Out, billion-dollar film, did a great job. You got Deadpool and Wolverine coming up, like set to be another billion-dollar film. So you're about to bust out 2 in a year, which is not even remotely close to a guarantee that any studio is going to get 1, and Disney will most likely end up with 2 by the time the year's out. But that is coming from a very specific game plan that you've seen Iger really start to tighten the ship. So I don't actually hate the idea if they are aware of the fact that they need to pull back on some stuff right now and really just focus up. I don't have a problem with it because we need that. We need that to happen in order to get back to, the golden age, which I don't think we'll ever get back to the peak, but you can get pretty close.
Coy?
I think it was rumored that the SDCC panel would be largely movie-based, and then D23 would be largely TV-based. That's what I kept hearing. I think more than ever, it looks like it's going to be Daredevil shown at San Diego Comic-Con. Agatha, they already showed. Cap, they already showed. They might show a little more Cap at San Diego, but I really think that San Diego is going to be your Thunderbolts, your Daredevil, the things that are like the next wave. And then I think they're being smart to not look too deep into the future. I think look at the next 2 years. I think showcase your Fantastic Four. I think focus on 2025 at San Diego. D23, I think of as being like, and phase 19, as the boys. So, I think they know the jabs are coming. I think they're smart to restructure how they do things. I don't think you should do things out of habit. I think you should do things when they're right. So I think the pandemic and the strike hit Marvel and Disney brands uniquely hard. I think Star Wars, Marvel, and the IP brands, they had a 10-year plan, and then 2 once-in-a-lifetime things, once-in-a-generation things happened to them back-to-back. We're going to see that restructuring from these 2 IPs more than most. And I think it's smart for Disney not to just panic and try to announce things or try to restructure. I think it's going to be quiet, have a presentation at San Diego, because that's the worldwide stage. That's the outside your fandom stage. D23 feels like it's inside the Mouse House. It feels like it's in the Mickey Mouse Club. That fandom's already showing up for you. Don't show them more right now. When you've got your restructuring, once you've got brand awareness back, once you've got that comfort back, come back strong next year or the next D23, which I think is in 2 years, and then be like, well, look what we fixed. Let's do X-Men. Because X-Men's not going to be this year. It's going to be the next D23. Yeah. So I think it's smart. I also think it allows them to feel like Marvel Animation's important. I think it's good to show the X-Men show with some oomph, to show the Spider-Man show with some oomph, to show Eyes of Wakanda for the first time really outside that little snippet, What If. So as much as I'm bummed, I think it's for the best.
Yeah, I think the only thing, like, there's 2 things, and we'll sign out here. The first is, if I'm Bob Iger, I'm saying, hey, guys, let's not go to Comic-Con this year, Kevin Feige. Let's go to D23, considering it's a week, 2 weeks, and we want more people spending money at our convention as opposed to San Diego Comic-Con. So let's present everything there instead of San Diego Comic-Con. We took last year off. Let's take this year off, and let's get people there.
I think it shows less confidence waiting till their own con. I think it shows confidence by going to the world. Like San Diego's when you show the world. D23 is when you show your own people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but if you want to get more legitimacy to it, but I understand either way. It's not make or break. It's like, fine, I understand it. Presenting, and because then you can say the opposite of that is, well, let's do what we're doing, and then we'll put the emphasis on our animation. Okay, great. Lucasfilm, you can also say, well, look, we don't even know when the damn movies are coming out. We haven't even started shooting Mandalorian and Grogu. We don't even have those things. We don't even know what we're doing with those things. So we don't know when the Rey movie's coming out. We don't know who's got the next movie. I don't want to. We don't even know what our next show is. We know Skeleton Crew's coming out. That's not enough to do a panel of. Let's just wait until next year or the year after, because we'll have more stuff. That makes sense. The animation, though, tons of animation. You got Moana 2, you have all these different things. That's surprising to me, especially with the D23. The animation and everything that Pixar's working on, because there's such a big win with Inside Out. Not having animation, that's surprising.
I thought they were going to announce Sean Levy's Star Wars. I thought it was going to be Skeleton Key, Sean Levy, and
Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew, thank you. That's that Bill Hader movie. Yeah. Skeleton Crew.
That's Skeleton Twins. That's Skeleton Twins.
Oh, there's so many skeletons.
There's a reason he became a manager like me. Let's
I'm not playing. I don't know. But I thought coming off $1 billion Deadpool going into Star Wars, I thought that's what it was gonna be. But I think maybe it's smart to not show your cards if they're not ready.
We have to. I understand that you want to hype stuff up. You want to get it going. And Moana 2 is supposed to be this year.
Yeah, end of the year. And Mufasa. Mufasa's the other one.
I thought Mufasa was next year. Mufasa's also this year.
Yeah, they have November, two. They have two. I mean, it's animation, live action, depending on how you want to look at it. But still, it's a Disney movie. You should. That's the other. That's the other part of it. Promote your other Disney movies. Promote your Fox stuff. Like that, remember when I was at D23, dude, they showed Avatar at D23 a couple years ago.
Yeah, okay. That's a little weird. I guess just at the same time, part of what I think has gotten them in trouble in the past has just been the overreach, and it's not just them, it's everybody. Like that's part of the reason that we ended up pulling back, like why the DCEU got in trouble.
Yeah, but overreaching, you're talking about overreaching on stuff that's not done yet. I'm talking about promoting stuff that you have. I'm talking about stuff that's already in the works, stuff that you're shooting, stuff that's in the can, stuff that's coming out. Like they're not.
That you didn't know Barry Jenkins' Mufasa was this year is not a good sign.
Right.
Yes, I knew. I should have guessed it based off of, since we already got a trailer that had to have been this year, just on the timing of it all.
Because you love Barry Jenkins. We've talked about it. So
Absolutely.
like the fact that like Mufasa is his in November.
I thought it was next year. I thought it was next February, but I guess they don't want to maybe step on their own toes with Captain America. So
it's who knows. It's a weird decision. It's a weird decision that they're not doing that. The other ones we get, but who knows? What do you guys think? Put your comments in there. Tell us exactly what you're thinking about the move for D23, and do you even care about what comes out at that? And maybe Coy's right. It's like that's just kind of like the side game that it's like, who really cares as long as we can promote things other places, and maybe we don't want to spend the money on it. We don't want to spend money bringing all these people in, bringing all the celebrities, doing all this stuff. We just want to have the event, and that's it. Sell our merch and be on our way. Promote the parks. So put your thoughts in there. Let me know. Thanks for joining us here today. I want to thank both Winston and Coy for being here. Winston, where can they find you?
You can find me at the Swaggy Blurt on all the platforms, especially here on YouTube. I've been doing the Marvel Fox revisits. I did my trailer reaction to Captain America, Brave New World, Gladiator 2, Agatha All Along, which we didn't get a chance to talk about today, but that, all of that. So check that out. And I put a funny short out here on YouTube, but it's starting to like catch some serious heat on TikTok right now about how Magneto from the singer X-Men is like the sassiest gay bitch you've ever seen in your life, because these bars he has throughout these movies is absolutely hilarious. So check that out as well.
Coy?
You can find me at Coy Jandro on all the socials, but especially here on YouTube, trying to grow this beast out. And it is Deadpool month. We are 2 weeks out as of now from Deadpool. I'm doing videos every week. Last week I did 5 comics to read before Deadpool. This week I did 5 Ryan Reynolds movies to watch before Deadpool. The movies I think inform Deadpool's take from Ryan Reynolds. Next week I'm doing Wolverine comics and Hugh Jackman movies. So check out my YouTube page for all sorts of Deadpool lead up. Then lots of Deadpool coverage once I've actually seen the movie. And I am very excited to get into the Batman show in August, which we'll be covering here as well. So hunt me down on YouTube. And I want to give some love real quick. Talked to Lamorne Morris last night at length. He and I were sat like right near each other at the Twisters premiere, and he had got announced as Robbie Robertson that day. So I got to be one of the first people to talk to him about Spider-Man Noir. Dude is such a comic book nerd. We had so much fun talking about going to cons. We had so much fun talking about collecting comic books as kids. He had all the same stories of like trading comics as a kid, but also like wanting certain sets of cards. Like he's a nerd, and he's really excited to play Robbie Robertson. We had a long talk about the character of Robbie, as well as like Brendan Gleeson just got cast in that show, Nick Cage. And a lot of people don't know, not only is the Spider-Man show live action, it's also Lord and Miller produced. So get excited for Spider-Man Noir. Lord and Miller, the guys from Spider-Verse. Lamorne is a delight. I'm going to talk to him more. But yeah, I just wanted to give some love to Spider-Man Noir. It's shaping up great.
All right, so check out both Winston and Coy on their respective channels. I really appreciate it. Thank you for joining here too. Man, look at this. I don't even know what happened. This wall. What's going on back there? No, I don't know.
Oh, if you go.
Oh, hey, what's going on?
If you go to D24,
what the hell?
Out of the timeline.
That's right.
Did you?
Yeah, that's right. It's good. You list the timeline.
Who the hell is that?
He's delirious on pain fumes. So, guys, thank you for joining us here today. Once again, hit that subscribe button wherever it is. It's floating around the joint. So do that. Apple Podcast, Spotify. As I mentioned, not only are we able to comment now on the Spotify, I got a clips channel, man. So if you want to see clips from this show, you want to see clips from all of our other shows, clips from the celebrity interviews that we do, it's all there. It's just Kristian Harloff clips. That easy. It's the first thing you're going to see. Click that and obviously join our sponsors here today. So thank you to Winston. Thank you to Coy. Thank you to the delirious paint-sniffing monster behind me. And that's it. So we'll see you on the flip side. Peace out, Mother Fs. Bye.